Hello, my beautiful people. Time for a rune pull. Happy Monday. Or whenever this email finds you, or this video, my brain. So I spent the weekend doing a lot of different things, but one of the things that I did was I was up at Harriman State Park, where I volunteer twice a year, at the Corman-Harriman Outdoor Center, we call it CHOC, and the Reeves Visitor Center. And, as part of, just my ongoing passion and hope that more people will get out into nature, people who, have experience, or people who, are new to backpacking, new to hiking, new to the outdoors. I always want there to be a friendly face, a non-judgmental face there to welcome them to the woods. So, I never volunteer with another volunteer. I'm always usually the only one. And so there's this like little plank thing that I set up on that's near the staff house. And, I kind of do my own thing. And this was the first time that there was another person there. And he was a nice fellow. But, oh my God, did he not stop talking. He talked nonstop. And it made me think about something that I think about a lot, which is bi-directional conversations. So, if you're having a conversation, you and I are sitting around having a cup of tea, and right? And we're having a conversation. There's an exchange of ideas, right? That's the point of a conversation, really. But when a person just talks and talks and talks and talks about themselves, and they don't stop, they're not interested in a conversation. They're interested in telling you their life story, but they're not interested in you, right? Like they want to tell their thing, but they're not interested in you. That's not a conversation. That's one directional. That's a rant if it's yelling at you, or it's, whatever it is, but it's not, conversations are meant to spread light, love, and wisdom. And, if you're doing all the talking and you're not doing any of the listening, then it's bi-directional. It's one directional, right? So, I was thinking about that. And, in no time did this person, even ask me where I was from. Most of the volunteers are local, and I drive 2.5 hours to get there. And I thought, not that it matters where I'm from, but it was just like this guy is so interested in telling me his life story. He doesn't even know, my name or where I'm from or why I choose to drive 2.5 hours up there. He wasn't interested at all in me. He was interested in telling me all about himself. So it was a reminder to me to not be that way, right? I try to genuinely listen to people when they're sharing their life stories, and I will listen. At some point I will say, "Oh, that's so interesting," and then I move on. I actually ended up sleeping in my Jeep because the guy just didn't stop talking, and as social as I am, and I am very social, I'm also a little bit of a private person, so I need time away from the humans, sort of to recharge my battery, like sticking me on a battery charger. And I was just afraid that he would just talk all night, and I just, I couldn't stay in that energy. I had to walk away. But I feel like it's true with other things too. Like if I meet somebody, a new person, and I meet somebody and I really want to get to know them, and you're talking to them and they're just all about them. And it's always it was funny because he was one-upping, but he was one-upping himself. It was because you meet people that you have a story and they're like, oh, I have a one-up, and they one-up your story. There's those people, but this guy was one-upping himself because at no point did he even ask me my name. And I just thought, that's an energy I don't want to be in. So anyway, I was thinking about it this morning. I was meditating. I was thinking, just to be a warning to myself, no judgment on him, but a warning to myself just to not be that kind of person. All right, so let's pull some runes. Now I'm including my my green man in my bag to sit with my stones when I am not with them. And then we have our Iona stones. And let's see, we haven't done a Celtic cross as a team, have we, for a while? I usually do that for myself. Then pull runes for myself this morning. So this may be my rune pull for today. So this may resonate with me, or it may resonate with you. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest for somebody else. Let's go for our present energy. Oh, I want to run up and get my book, because I promised. So in other traditions in witchcraft, they call it a grimoire. I call it a book of life. It's handwritten, and it just has I have all my stones written out. I have different recipes. I have this weird rash which I'm using honey on right now. I think it's poison. I don't normally get poison, so it probably has to be like sumac or something like that. Right, present energy is Algis. Hands spreading out. Light and love. Light and love is sharing. What got us to this point? Chira, our cycle, year. What energy can't we prevent? Ingus. What energy can we, not prevent, but like what energy can we help? What can we work with? Evo, favorite stone. And last but not least, what is our potential outcome? Remembering that rune stones do not predict the future. Isa. This is like a super, super positive reading, and then you get to Isa, and you're like, how does Isa always fit in? And that's always like I feel like when it's in that northern position, it's just a reminder, like, things are going good, but don't get stuck in that. Don't rest on your laurels, because there's always work to do. So I am going to go and get my book of life, and other people call it grimoire. I'm going to go get that, and I'm going to think about the stones, and then we'll see what Spirit has to say about it all. I will be right back. So this is my book of life, and I have all little cards and stuff to hold pages, but this is what it looks like on the inside, and it's filled with meanings of these stones. It's filled with natural recipes that I use. It's filled with different layouts for readings if I want to use them. I mean, has different things that I do for each of the eightfold wheels and stuff, and I sort of assemble, because my tradition is so unique to me, and it doesn't really follow any particular one path. It's 90% Druidic, like I've said before, and I have videos about this, and maybe I'll do another one if people are interested. I'm not a huge fan of the modern Druid movement. I think it's very elitist. I think it's very snooty patooty, and that is just not my vibe at all. Because, interesting that we're talking about language today. So Druids never wrote things down. And they didn't write things down because words were sacred. So they were illiterate. There was this, thing that, they were illiterate. That's not true. They wrote in Latin. They wrote in Greek. They just did not write down their things. It was all passed by oral tradition. And words are sacred, right? Meanings and things are sacred. Like how we communicate with one another is sacred, right? That's sacred, and we should use language for the benefit of humanity, for our greatest good, right? So that I was thinking about it, and Al just literally says, listen instead of hearing. And that's the energy I'm in right now, is just making sure, just some other things that it says, protection, defense, instinct, group effort, guardianship, higher self, connection with God, perceptions beyond the physical world, listen instead of hearing, awakening, closer to the divine, ancestral memory, connection between divine and human, right? So, and we're talking about communication. Now, how did we get to this? We got to this through Jira, which means cycle or year, and Jira is all about, what comes around goes around, right? And so, I think I try to be a person who listens to other stories, and that probably hasn't always been true. If you know me personally, or if you follow the channel, you probably have guessed that I've done a lot of really cool things in my life, mostly because I don't want to sit on my butt and get stale. My family thinks I'm nuts. A lot of people think I'm crazy, that I do too much, that I've done too much, and I am about at 50% capacity now than I was when I was in my 30s. And that's because I follow that principle, get busy living or get busy dying, from Shawshank Redemption, if you've watched that movie. So it's really easy to have one-up stories all the time, right? Because I've done a lot of things, and I've been very blessed. I've been blessed in my career. I've had amazing opportunities. I've had amazing partnerships. I've been blessed in my personal life, and I have amazing stories, and have had amazing partnerships. But sometimes, and this is something that I've learned as I've gotten older, I don't need to chime in all the time. I can just let go and I get excited because I'm like, oh, like I've done something cool like that, but I've learned to zip it, and I probably need more work in that regard. So, I come through, this is something that I work on, and so it's something that I'm much more conscious of, I think, than maybe average people are. So the forces that you can't control is dawn, which is the Divination Stone, which is oh, hold on, oh, good grief. See, I have all these little cards in it to show that's not Dagus. What am I talking about? I'm talking out of my butt. I guess, is a seed stone. So goals, growth, common sense, internal spiritual growth, break social roles about gender, interact with the supernatural, don't worry what others think, physical pleasure without hurting others, have patience, be still. Somebody had asked me about my video the other day about the outer faiths and views on marriage and sexuality. Maybe one day I'll do a video, but I really don't feel like I can speak on behalf of what the witchcraft or Wiccan community feels about, or even pagans. I really feel like I don't know enough about the beliefs, and I do think that they're probably individual anyway. I don't know that there's at least in the Druid path, there's not like it's not like in Christianity where it's like no sex before marriage. Like that's a Christian concept that is perpetuated by Christianity, and for good or bad reasons. This isn't a judgment on that policy. It's just that the policy is clear. Whereas I think in the pagan faith or in the pagan tradition and in the outer faith, I don't know that green witches believe this, and then kitchen witches believe that. I don't think it goes that way. And in Druidry, it's all about paths, and your path is your path. And then if your path doesn't hurt others, and that you're helping others on their path, like your path is legitimate. So again, I don't think there's not a right or wrong, I think is what I'm trying to say. But there are definitely different, Druids have always been, they've always been an equitable culture. So men and women have always had equal rights in the Druid culture. There was never a time when women were subservient to men. They've always been equal. So that whole concept of men and women not being equal is definitely a Judeo-Christian concept. So that's just to say that, like, you can't help that. You can't help the construction and the belief pattern that you're in, and then the people around you come from a belief pattern, and you really can't help what other people are going to believe, and you really can't help how they're going to view you. So don't waste your energy on it. Right? So what can you control? Well, you can control your gifts. You have whatever gifts you have. My gift is discernment and intuition and intuitive practice. Those are the gifts that I have. But I think there's always a good warning from Isa, just to say, like, you have gifts, but don't like sit and rest in them. Always develop them. Always work on them. Be a listener. Be a listener. Don't always be a talker. YouTube's very convenient because I get to blabber on all I want, but I'm not in a conversation with somebody. But if I'm in a conversation, but also I think on a personal level, I like people. I'm social. Obviously, you know that if you know me. I'm a social person. I tend not to take people on to my boat, my personal boat. And every once in a while, a person will come along, and I'll be like, that's interesting. Spirit's made a lot of these connections, and holy smokes, like, that's a person I want on the boat. And then I step back and I think, I really want this person in this boat, but this person hasn't, like, expressed any personal interest in me. And I don't mean that sexually. I don't mean that romantically. We always go there, but I'm not going there. I'm just talking about a friendship. And that person has never asked any questions about me, has never reached out to me to, like, how was your day? And I was thinking about this guy yesterday. And I kind of go through that because I'm so excited about this new friend that I want to make that I don't pay attention to the warning signs, warning, we have an issue. I don't pay attention to the fact that the person has expressed no interest in me. And so I need to be better about that. I need to move away from that. I need to, because then I always get a broken heart in the end. But if I would figure that out in the beginning and say, This person isn't interested in you. They're interested in telling their stories. They're interested in themselves. You're not worth their time. If I would just learn that in the beginning, my heart wouldn't get broken, because I'm thinking, this is a person I want to put in my boat, and there's so few people I want to put in my boat. If I just figure it out sooner, then I will be less heartbroken. So there's the lesson from Spirit. Let's get some cards, shall we? Let's ask. We have Earth Wisdom came up first, so I'll ask Earth Wisdom. Spirit, any cards that will add to this reading to help clarify any issues? Nothing comes out. We know that nothing else is meant to come out. I'm failing at the whole shuffling thing today. All right, 3 passes. Pass 1. Pass 2. Pass 3. One of these days, and I think that if you've been along the channel, you know this, I have access to all kinds of equipment. I'm a technologist. I have access to actually like recording rooms, which clearly I don't use. Part of that is because I like the idea of just being in my kitchen and just being who I am. I do have all the technology, but that feels much more of a production. This feels much more like me. But I'm going to get the things so that you can see the stones and cards. All right, so card number 1, go with the flow. Is that beautiful? Don't get stuck. Isa is about getting stuck, right? Don't get stuck. Just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. Move on from people whose energy doesn't match yours, and that brings you joy. Like happiness and light and love. Let us see what the Celtic Spirit says. Three passes. Whatever comes out is meant to go with the reading. Whatever doesn't come out isn't meant to go with the reading. Pass 3. And Spirit kicked that buddy right out. Okay, we have Celestial, which is Cosmos, Creation, and Spiral. And Spiral is sort of the same energy as this. Like these are, we kind of go through these cycles. And, like I go through cycles of wanting to put people on my boat. Most of the time I don't. But, I go through these cycles and then my heart gets broken because, the person doesn't want to be in the boat with me. But I'm getting better at realizing that they don't want to even come over to my ocean to begin with. So getting better at that, but that's something I work on. Sacred waters, deep healing, emotions, and pilgrimage. So again, that sort of same energy of just protect your personal space. And you can have a conversation and listen about somebody's life story, and it can be interesting, and you can say, that's interesting, and then move on, right? Don't invest your time and energy into thinking it's going to be more than it's going to be, right? And it's probably my biggest, my biggest failing is my inability to see it soon enough. I'm getting better, but, there's no rhyme or reason to the kinds of people that I want in my boat. You think, oh, well, she wants all spiritual people, or she wants religious people, or academics. Not really. I like true people who are honest and had some sort of depth. I like people who have depth, that can have a conversation about interesting things, Like, it doesn't have to be Shakespeare, obviously. It can be about anything, but I also don't want to sit around and talk about makeup and, stuff like that. And I don't like to talk about other people either. So, I don't like the gossip. All right. One card for where we move to next, please. Or things that we should consider. Whatever you want to tell us, Spirit. Strength. Look how pretty that card is. Alright, what is... Oh, the book one. Oh, here it is. Again, so much stuff next to me. I don't know why I bothered cleaning this table off. Oh, it opened right up to strength. Like, right up to it. How funny. This must be important. Strength is the ability to grow where no tree should. A representing strength does not merely exist, but rather thrives while growing on an inhospitable vertical cliff. It has a strong trunk and branches and takes advantage of being in full sunlight. The meaning. Strength comes in many forms, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Strength represents the determination to overcome obstacles in life while learning and gaining wisdom from overcoming these obstacles. Strength means not only being aware of problems, but having the inner fortitude to face them directly. Strength is about courage, conviction, discipline, will, honesty, and faith. Strength is also about anger and impulse management, about leadership, and about maintaining one's honor. Part of strength is having the self-control, patience, and energy to tackle difficult challenges that arise. Trust and draw upon your own strengths and abilities. Be constructive and not destructive. Be aware of problems and temptations and overcome them. Accomplishments and success can be met with conviction and dedication. That's fascinating. So, again, I think the personal message here is to be strong and kind of know when people don't want to be in my boat, right? Because I used to think I was a really great judge of who'd want to be in my boat. And then I learned that that's not true. And then some people who want to be in your boat sometimes only want to be half in your boat. And that tips over your boat. If you've ever been kayaking, somebody falls out of their yak. They always want to hang on your yak. And I teach kayaking. I'm like, don't do that because you're going to flip my boat. And then I show them what to do so that they don't flip my boat, because what's good of us both being in the water? Not everybody wants to be in your boat. Some people only want to be half in your boat. Some people want to take over your boat. Be able to discern, and this happens all the time. This isn't just like a once and done ditty. This is probably your whole life. Whatever kind of person you are, an empath or whatever kind of energy you have, you're drawn to certain kinds of people who want to take advantage of you, or people who just don't treat you well, but you want them so badly in your life that you're willing to put up with the bad treatment. And Spirit's definitely saying, your energy deserves to be valued. And so, have the strength to walk away. I am wishing you all the very best and light love. Have a great day. Take care, and I will see you, I hope, tomorrow. Bye-bye.